Hey everyone, it's me, Mario. Welcome to the new setup. Is this going to be the one we go with? Will it be temporary? Who knows? Went out to the store the other day, installed a bunch of these sexy shelves. However, you may have noticed the only problem, and that is there is a giant gaping hole in the wall. Yeah, it was a long story, this whole thing involving a porcelain boy named Brahms, but hopefully that won't bother us again. And because this is a YouTube video, there we go. Good as new. We'll get that taken care of eventually. But for now, we got a new discussion video to do. Because things were a bit hectic recently, in my last video, I asked you guys to leave me some topics to discuss. Just because, I've been away for a while. What's on the go? What do you guys want me to talk about? I'll be returning to normal videos soon with my JoJo review, a series that I recently finished. Can't wait to talk about. But for now, we're going to be responding to some comments. If you missed the chance to ask me a question, I'm sure I'll do more of these in the future because I really like doing them. Let's go. I'm just realizing now that my mouth is dry and my nose is runny. I swear to fuck. I swear to fuck. Any thoughts on webtoons or webcomics? Am I interested in checking any of them out? I honestly have never really looked into this medium. I mean, obviously when it comes to webcomics, I read manga that are serialized online, stuff like Spy Family. But I know what you're talking about, like webtoons, a lot of the times, manhwa. Specifically the webtoon site. I don't really know much about it, and I don't know much about the series that are there. I'm definitely not opposed to eventually reading some, but for right now, my focus is kind of elsewhere. Are you planning on collabing with other manga tubers? I've talked about this before. Collabing is something I don't usually do, and not because I don't want to, it's just not really, I don't know. I'm not a very collaborative person. I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but generally I just focus on doing things on my own, and that's where I'm comfortable, that's where I like to be. However, I'm not opposed to helping out other people at all. In fact, I have helped out a lot of other YouTubers behind the scenes mostly. I've provided some clips of myself for people to use before, and if people want to reach out, make a video with me, yeah, sure. It's just I'm generally not the one who does the reaching out. And of course we do the podcast as well, and even though most of the guests are usually the same, we are always still open to having new people on if they are interested. My pesky water bottle gets stuck in the shot again. Which manga currently serialized in Shonen Jump has surprised me the most? Honestly, considering my history with it, probably Jujutsu Kaisen. Of course, this was a series that when I first started, I wasn't really into. It felt very generic and boring, and I just wasn't feeling it. And a lot of people got mad at me for that, rightfully so, because when I got back into it, I was super surprised that it probably, right now, Jujutsu Kaisen is probably my favorite thing in the magazine. I think it's a phenomenal action series with a really cool story, wonderful fights, and yeah, it's a cool one. Definitely check it out if you haven't. You probably already have, because you know. Where am I reading JoJo after part 5? Now, here's the thing, the P word, not something I condone on this channel, and I try to avoid it when I can, because I think supporting legal manga is very important. However, there are times, such as the case with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where you can't read it all legally in English. You can read the first 4 parts on the Shonen Jump app, if you have a subscription there, and they are adding part 5 as new volumes of that release in English. But when it comes to the other parts, I'll tell you this though, it's not hard to find, man. It is. No, you don't need to ask me. Just go to Google, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, full color, whatever. You'll find it. There you go. Joff asks if I love him and if he is worthy of the high ranks. I'll say this, it's always a party when Joff is around. I definitely, don't hate his presence. And he may be on the council, but unfortunately he is not granted the rank of master. Oh, forgot to do this one. Sorry about that. I don't read many other comics outside of manga. However, I am a pretty big fan of Brian Lee O'Malley's stuff. Scott Pilgrim's Sock Girl. I also like, a few superhero comics here or there. Watchmen probably being my favorite. I've read a bit of Walking Dead, and that's good, and I am interested in checking out Kirkman's other series, Invincible, at some point. High Guardian Spice, yes. I briefly mentioned it in the last video, but as I promised 2 whole years ago, I will be reviewing High Guardian Spice when it all comes out. We still don't know the exact release date other than it's soon. The series has actually been completed for 2 years now. Production ended in late 2019. I don't know what they've been waiting for. But yeah, it'll be here. I'm really excited to check it out. The first trailer, my thoughts, it does not look good, but always benefit of the doubt. We'll see how it goes. Thoughts on The Owl House. This is a great show. I really like it a lot. I really like Hootie a lot. it's cool. If you're a fan of Gravity Falls, a lot of the same people worked on it. Check it out. Is Kobayashi's Dragon Maid based or cringe? I'm gonna be honest, I barely know anything about this one. From what I have seen though, it does seem pretty based. So, yeah, that's my opinion. Why aren't enough people talking about Black Butler or the heroic legend of Arslan? Black Butler's always been a weird series to me, just because of how long it's been around. Like, when you tell most people that Black Butler is still ongoing and has over 30 volumes, they'd probably look at you like you're crazy, but it's true. Personally, I tried getting into the series, if you remember. Wasn't too big on it, wasn't terrible. I can see why some people like it, and it definitely does have a, smaller but still strong fan base who still buys all the volumes. I don't know. It's interesting. Legend of Arslan, don't know much about this one. I know Arakawa does the art for the manga adaptation. I believe it's based on a series of novels. Who knows? Maybe I'll check it out someday. Maybe I won't. You know how it goes. So this person would like me to compare the Lorax novel to the 2012 Illumination adaptation. I'm gonna be real with you guys, and I'm not joking at all. I think the Lorax is literally like one of the best children's books ever made. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Geisel, and I think this, has such a good message, such a good story. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Now, of course, the Illumination movie starring Ed Helms, Danny DeVito, Zac Efron, and Taylor Swift, we all know it, we've all seen it. It's been the focus of many memes over the past several years, and while I do appreciate it for that, I think it kind of stinks. Do I prefer SSSS Gridman or Dynazenon? Interesting question. If you remember way back, I really loved Gridman. I was huge on the hype train every single week. Was awesome, and I still think it's awesome. However, I definitely prefer its spiritual sequel, SSSS Dynazenon, because while Gridman definitely delivered on an interesting story and fantastic action, I felt the cast of characters to be rather weak. What Dynazenon does is that it still brings the great action and a cool story, but it breathed a lot more life into the characters, made them a lot more relatable, a lot more emotive, and I think for me that is why Dynazenon is the better series. And if they do a third one, I really hope they can build off the stuff they've made in Dynazenon and maybe make something even better. I gotta say, like, Trigger's fucking awesome, right? You've seen Star Wars Visions, where he cuts to the Star Destroyer and I'm like, they're gonna save that Cyberpunk game, man. Just you wait. Have I ever read the Steven Universe manga? I actually have read the first chapter once, but I think I got distracted at the time and didn't read any more. So I don't really have much to say, but yeah, let it be known it is on my radar, and I'm sure I will get to it at some point. Some of the favorite manga covers in my collection. I think My Hero has some really fantastic ones, most of the time. We had a really good streak recently, and then we got this puke. Soul Eater has some sick covers, man, and it is probably my favorite manga art style, which is what someone else asked to know. Vinland Saga has some great ones too. It's a shame that we only got half of them in English. They have the other ones on the inside, but they're not always cover, which is too bad. And Magi is great. I feel like someone asked me this in the last video, but whatever. This is my second favorite arc in Vinland Saga. Everyone knows my favorite, the Farm Saga. And for second favorite, definitely the prologue. In terms of quality, I think the prologue and the Farm arc are pretty much equal. I definitely prefer the Farm arc because of its character development. But the prologue is so fucking good, man. It's only the prologue of the series, but it really stands on its own. The war setting is just fantastic. Lots of great characters, great politics, just so good, man. While I think the Baltic Sea War is still great, I don't think it's near at the level of those first two arcs. The current arc, which is also the final one, has also been super great, and we'll have to see when it all wraps up where it ranks among the rest. Thoughts on the massive increase in manga popularity all around the world? I mean, fuck yeah. Ew, fuck, I'm getting sick. Shit! Anyway, I love that manga is getting more popular. Fuck yeah. I walked to the bookstore. The manga shelf is fucking massive now. I remember when it was tiny. Now it's massive. And it's great. It feels wonderful that so many more people are finally appreciating manga. It may have taken a global pandemic for that to happen, but, the ends justify the means. You said 20th Century Boys is the last big series I had to review that people have been recommending to me. What about Gantz? And, okay, I'll concede there. Gantz has been something people have recommended, not nearly as many people, but I have been getting recommendations for it for years, and I've never looked at it. Because honestly, it doesn't seem that interesting to me, I'm sorry. Like, when I look at all this vast library of series I still have to read, I don't know. And it doesn't help that a lot of people I know have told me mixed things about it, who say it starts really good and then it kind of gets, not great. Which I know is not everyone's opinion on it. But personally, I don't know. Maybe someday, but it's not really a priority for me right now. Maybe some of you guys can sway my opinion there. Video idea for my favorite panels from manga. That would be an interesting one, and generally when I talk about specific manga, I do show my favorite panels, so I don't think I would make like a full video only on that. Another problem that comes with that is that a lot of times my favorite panels of manga involve spoilers. Like, I remember when I reviewed Attack on Titan, it was really hard to show some of the later parts of the series that I thought looked really great because, So yeah, it's a cool idea. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I will always continue to showcase some of my favorite pieces of art from the manga I talk about. I forgot another one. I'm just so great, aren't I? Eden, It's an Endless World. Honestly, I don't really know anything about this one, aside from the name. Like most things, it might be a while, but maybe, whatever. Yeah. And my wish list for Elden Ring, honestly, I don't have much else I would want. Everything we've heard about the game so far just sounds amazing. Just the fact that it's a mix of Dark Souls and Sekiro, some of my favorite games ever. The horse combat sounds and looks amazing. The bosses look amazing. I love the idea that you have this huge open world that's just sprinkled with bosses all over the place, kind of like an expanded version of Sekiro. I'm just so excited for it. And that is why there will not be a single video in February. Please read Blue Exorcist and D. Gray Man. So I have actually read some of Blue Exorcist. Not really a fan. Sorry about that. D. Gray Man looks kind of interesting. I believe it's like it was on hiatus for a long time, and now it's kind of, on a consistent release schedule and is ending soon, I believe. So maybe that might give me a reason to check that one out. Now, in the last video, I of course talked about how I will be revisiting a lot of series I've read a long time ago that I don't really remember how I feel about them, all in preparation for my next top manga video. And this person asks if I plan on revisiting Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches. I don't, because it's so fucking good that I don't need to. I still remember it very well, I remember the characters very well, and I just love it. It's so fucking good. And so underrated. If you love romantic comedy manga, you must check this one out. It's so great. What's my opinion on Shuzo Oshimi and Blood on the Track? Blood on the Tracks, yeah. That's the English name. We don't use fake names here. I love Flowers of Evil. It's one of my favorite manga. I also love Happiness. Happiness is However, I was not a fan of Inside Mari. I found that one to be a bit too uncomfortable for my tastes. Yeah. And as for Blood on the Tracks, I've not read it yet. When it comes to Oshimi, I generally like to wait for the series to end because they're so fast-paced. You can just breeze through it all in a day. And I'll do the same thing whenever that series ends. But I am looking forward to it because I have heard it's very good. Manga concept that I would like to see on the Shonen Jump. I don't know if this one really applies to Shonen Jump. But as you know, I'm a huge fan of, Stephen King stories, Mike Flanagan's work. I really love horror stories set in the real world. And it is kind of rare. Most horror manga take place in, altered realities or fantasy worlds. Maybe this is why I like Happiness so much, because it does kind of deal with supernatural stuff in our reality. I would love to see more stories like that. Stuff like small town horror with real people with real problems, but also there's like monsters in the woods. I love that shit. I don't know how well that type of stuff would appeal to the Shonen Jump fan base, so it might be more suited for like a seinen magazine or something, but it would be something I'd like to see more of, because I think that stuff is really interesting. How is the new environment treating me? I really like it here. It's a cool place. It's very different, as I talked about. The climate is different. There's animals fucking everywhere. I saw a fucking skunk the other day, but I am pretty happy with my decision to relocate. Am I planning on reading more fight-focused manga like Holy Land? maybe someday. There's also been a huge push for me to read Ashita no Joe recently, so it's not really a subject matter that I'm interested in, but as we've seen with things recently like Haikyuu or Kengan Ashura, it proved to me that yeah, I don't really need to be super on board with the subject matter to enjoy a series, because you know the rest of it could just be so good, and it might even make me a fan of whatever it's about. Do I think Shonen Jump will be in any trouble in the coming years with all of these big series ending? Nah, not really. And you're right, a lot of big things are ending. My Hero, Dr. Stone are in their final acts. Jujutsu Kaisen and Mashle, while they have a lot left, they're probably not going to be around for all that much longer in the grand scheme of things. Even One Piece is reaching its final stages. And what's Shonen Jump going to do when all of these series are gone? Well, there's gonna be more. You see, it's always weird following Shonen Jump in the present, because you see, like, every few months they're canceling series. They release like a dozen series a year, only 2 or 3 become major hits, and that can make it seem like the magazine is in a dire position. But in reality, that has always been the case with Shonen Jump. I mean, just this year, we got Sakamoto Days, Witch Watch, and Blue Box, which are all shaping up to be huge hits. And I am very confident that next year, we are going to see another handful of huge hits. I even think it's very possible that a new series will come around and sell as much as Jujutsu Kaisen. Maybe not Demon Slayer, but we're just in that era right now where things can just blow up. And yeah, you know, in 5 years, the Shonen Jump lineup may be completely unrecognizable to us now, but I am pretty confident that we will get some more good stuff in the future. And last, you were asking me what some of my favorite manga characters are. For those who don't know, my favorite manga character of all time is related to something we talked about earlier, to Askeladd from Vinland Saga. I think that he is one of the most interesting characters I've ever read in fiction. He's a horrible person, right? He is a villain, but I think Yukimura does such a good job of helping you understand where he's coming from. And he's so smart, he's just so fun to watch. Like, just truly a wonderful character. When it comes to relatability, I wouldn't really say anyone in the cast of Kaguya-sama I can relate to all that much, but I do think that some of these situations and things that they deal with hit very close to home for me, which is another reason I love that series so much, and why everyone should go read it immediately. Alright, there we go, fun discussion, that was long, holy shit. I was gonna post about it on the community tab, but when I saw how many comments the last video got, I was like, alright, never mind. But yeah, had a ton of fun doing this, collaborating with you guys once again, and I will continue to make these videos probably when I'm in ruts and don't have anything else to do. But that's fine, because we're all having a good time. So with that, hopefully whatever the fuck I'm discovering right now about my body will be gone soon, and I can review JoJo, because I have a lot of stuff planned for October. It's gonna be great. Thank you all so much for watching. You can leave your thoughts on this video in the comments down below, and I will see you all hopefully soon.